What's up, visionaries? Brynn here. Before we begin today's video, I'd like to send a shout out to you, the viewer behind the screen. I hope that you're staying safe in this time of difficulty and struggle for pretty much the entire world. I hope that you've been taking time for yourself, time to spend with family. If you can't see your family, at least catching up, remaining mentally strong, and doing your best to stay happy and healthy. Please don't feel the need to leave this lockdown or quarantine wherever you are with a new skill or anything like that. I think that this content that I will be creating over this period will be just for entertainment purposes, but also hopefully as a helpful tutorial and a helpful way to learn new skills that you might be able to use once we go back to normal, or semblance of normalcy. Today we're going to be doing something really great. This is our first video here on Vista, and I would like to do color grading. But the thing is, we won't just be doing any color grade. What we'll be doing is something that I saw in a video on YouTube. A gentleman named Qazi. He's a fantastic professional colorist, which I do not claim to be by any stretch. However, his tips, his guides, and his kind of masterclass really captured me. And so I took down some notes. I hope you don't mind. I'll be using them throughout the video on getting what's called the commercial white look. And basically this is what they use in commercials and adverts and so forth to get that really pure and crisp white color. So I thought we could use some footage that we have taken before. We've used footage from a client that Vista had previously before the lockdown, and it's some real estate footage. And what I would like to do is try this color grade tip that he gave for creating this look. I'd like to apply it to the footage with you. So I am still very new to DaVinci Resolve, which is the program we'll be using today. So as I learn and as I kind of come to understand things, it will be on camera with you guys. So please bear with me. If you do notice something that I'm doing wrong, or maybe something that you know better in terms of quicker editing like tips, please drop a comment down below. Let me know so that I can also improve and grow my skills. But without further ado, let's hop onto my computer. Great, so here we are in DaVinci. I have got my clip ready down below, and I will just drag that in, and I will, would I like to change my frame rate? Yes, let's match it. And there we go. So this clip was shot on my A6400 in the HLG profile. I'll put my profile settings right here for you to see. Pretty much, very straightforward. I took it from another video that a guy did, very in-depth. I won't be going that in-depth, but if you'd like to copy those HLG, that HLG profile, go ahead. Okay, so we've got the clip here. Now I know to drag it in here to put it on the timeline, and we drag here. Oh man, that audio. Let me mute, and then we won't have to worry about that. Okay, so we've got this house here. We can see I may have overexposed the windows a little bit, unfortunately, but in general the inside I think it looks pretty crisp. I think maybe from here, let's cut it from here. Is this the cut tool? Where would I find the cut tool? Cut. No, that's not correct. Sorry guys, I should have actually done a little bit more work before coming in here. So you know what? I think let's just do... Okay, there we go. We can split clips, delete that, and then we're left with just this. I guess that's fine. Let's take this guy and go into our color palette, which is what we've been waiting for. So one of the things that Qazi does is he says he finds the hero frame. Now the hero frame is basically where it contains pretty much the bulk of what you would like to have in your frame. So like this would probably be the hero frame. It contains the most information across the board, so I think we'll keep it here. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow the node tree that he outlined, and then we'll go through each and every node together according to the notes that I have, and we'll go through each node figuring out what it does to the footage. So let's get started. So our first node, we're going to label this guy noise reduction. From there we can create a new serial node and name this guy exposure. So this is our exposure correction. Then we'll add another node, add serial, and this guy will be our balance node. Okay, another node, and this time what I want to do is drag this guy down here because I don't have much space to work. Actually, maybe I can make my, oh, there we go, I can make my nodes a bit bigger, smaller. So let's keep it like this. You go there, then I can put you here, and I'll name this. This is the look, as in the clean white look that we want to go for. Then what I want to do is add a parallel node, apparently. And this parallel node will be called skin tones, although I don't think we need a skin tones node, so we can skip that one. Let's go for a highlights node. Once that highlights is done, we can leave those two like that. Then add a new node. We'll pull this guy down over here. He will be our look adjustment, like that. We'll add another node. This guy will be our global adjustment. Another one, we're almost there. This will be our sharpening node. So when I shoot on my A6400, I like to drop, as you saw in the color profile, I like to drop that sharpening in body, do all sharpening post. So I've been doing sharpening in Premiere. That's been my editor for as long as I've worked with cameras, but this is brand new to me, so I'm hoping that this sharpening will give us the same results that we get, if not better, than Premiere. From our sharpening node, we'll move on to our last one, which is one that he likes to add, that I've noticed in a lot of his videos. He likes to add grain to make it look a bit more kind of professional, give it that, you know, nice filmic look. So let's get started. He does not begin with the noise reduction node, which is very interesting. He begins with the exposure node. In the exposure node, you begin with your contrast. So he was working in some log footage, so I don't think I'll need to add as much contrast as the log, but the HLG, it will still benefit from raising up some contrast. So he raises up his contrast to about 1.39. I don't think that we'll be needing that much. Let's bring it up to maybe about 1.2. Don't want to crush any of the shadows, so 1.5 maybe, that's 1.5, that's good. Then in our primary wheels, we can go to our gamma setting and raise it up. So he raises it to about 0.06. Let's see what that does. Okay, that looks good. Let's try before and after. Looking good. Okay, so that's the exposure node. As far as I can tell, he then goes into the gain, and he also drops it to reveal some highlight details. Let's see if we can do that. I don't think we'll have any highlight details to recover, unfortunately. Actually, we do, but I'd rather save that for the highlights node. Let's keep it, drop it just a little bit so that the highlights aren't too hard. And there we go, that'll be good. And that's our exposure node done. Then we can move on to our balance node. And in the balance node, you want to make it pop. So what he does is he adds some serious saturation. He bumps it up to 100. That's crazy. That's really crazy. So the walls are actually orange. So the whites that will pop will be this countertop, this side panel over here, these walls, maybe the roofing, but in general I think we can just look for that crisp commercial look, see how it comes out. So we've popped it, but we need to balance it afterwards. So on our waveform, let's check it out. Here's our waveform. This displays our gamma. And now what we need to do is we need to fix this by aligning these RGB colors. They need to kind of all fit in place so that they form a perfect white line. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our primaries wheels, and our gamma, we can try and experiment and see what happens when we pull them and move them around. Whoa, we're going crazy up in here. As you pull it towards the blue, they split quite hard. So what we want to do, actually, let's reset that guy. And I was getting some good, so that control will just drop or raise the waveform like that. So what we want to do is we want to pull it and adjust to get our colors. There we go. Just right. There we go. So actually we're pulling it towards the opposite side to ensure that the colors match up. There we go. That's a pretty good match on that line over there. Then in our log wheels, what we can do is we can actually pull down our shadows and see how that affects the shadows of the image. He drops it down to like 0.11, which I see to be pretty good actually. Don't want to go any further because then it starts to really kind of get very dingy. So let's drop it to maybe 0.8 or 5, between 8 and 5, maybe 7. We can actually use our low range. He uses the LR, low range, to affect what is, what you can affect actually. So you can change so that it only affects these darker shadows or that it affects all the shadows. So let's see what we want to affect. Actually, we want to only affect these shadows. So about there, that looks about right. Then to dial in on some extras, let's look at primaries bars. He turns off Luma Mix, which is very interesting. And then he pulls the color out of the shadows with the gamma bar. So let's see, in our shadows, it looks like we've got some red in our shadows. So maybe in the gamma bar, let's try and see what we can do with the various bars, see how that will affect our shadows. Whoa, that's too crazy. That's way too crazy. I can see the value of having these little okay, so it doesn't seem like that works. Unfortunately, the primaries bars are now adding to everything. Let's try in primaries reels and try the gamma bar. Let's see what we can pull. Okay, no, that's not working. Let's reset it to what it was at. Okay, so I think the balancing node, let's just check both our nodes that we've got so far. Let's check what they look like. So that was our beginning shot. This is our current shot. I'm not liking this red line at all. But let's see, maybe we'll get to a fix for that at a later stage. Let's move on to our next node, which is our look node. So this is where the real magic happens. This is where we'll see how it goes. So primary wheels, let's take our gain and drop it to around 0.85. So this unfortunately kind of makes the image a bit less bright. But what happens is you then dial in your primary bars, you dial in the Luma channel of your gain all the way to 1.0. Oh man, that is looking really good. Let's check the before and after. So it's pulling out that color in the walls. I don't know if you guys can see. Makes it just a bit lighter, pulls out the whites a bit more. That's really nice. So that's up to 100. And then in our color boost, we want to drop color boost to around -10. So when the whites on your waveform are about 512. Ooh, that's really nice. The way it merges those colors just seamlessly. Love that. So mine is about -15, but I think that looks good. From there we can skip the skin tones node, and he does nodes for specific colors in the house to bring out specific colors. I won't be doing that. I don't think it's absolutely necessary. I think that let's try and stick to our pure crisp white, see what it looks like. We can move then onto highlight control. So in the highlights node, what we want to do is we want to go to our qualifier and we want to grab the top end of our luminance. So I'm not entirely sure how, there we go. So he uses this to create that and then pulls it till about here, like there almost. Then what you want to do is your highlights in the primaries wheels, you want to drop your highlights to about -35. Let's drop them to about -35 and let's see what that's doing in our windows. Oh, I see. So the windows are actually not doing what we wanted to do. In accordance, they actually look a bit worse. They look a bit more washed out. I wonder if we can find the right spot where we can maintain the most detail in our, about there, 35. That actually looks a lot more crisp. If you look before, there it's off and there it's on. So it actually pulls out those colors a bit better. So I think that's actually quite nice. If we move a bit further on in the frame, we can see here these highlights. See how it works on those. Actually, yeah, it pulls out the colors really nicely. So is there anything else? For our colors, what we can do is we can actually go into gain and we can pull some colors into it. We can just add some slight, yeah, I think the problem is that these highlights are completely overblown, so anything doesn't really do much. But let's try and find the sweet spot. I think it's around there. Before and after, that looks pretty good. Let's get it back to our hero frame. That's looking gorgeous. From there we can then move on to the look adjustment. He skips this and goes straight for the global adjustment node. So let's check out what happens in the global adjustment. In the global adjustment, he basically uses a vignette to pull some of the content out. So why don't we try that and pull out this countertop. Let's see if that'll work. So he creates a circle, he squashes it, extends it, and let's give it some shadow. Let's give it some feathering. How do you give it feather? That one. Let's feather it a bit. Maybe extend it a bit like that, so it actually sits quite across. And the problem is we need to create keyframes for it. And in terms of creating keyframes, I'm not entirely sure how to go about that. So let's just leave this where it is. How about that? From there, you've created your vignette, and this can be used to enhance your entire Actually, let's try and use it on our entire footage to see what we can do about it, like this. Where's the rotation? There's the rotation. Let's keep it there, maybe drop some of this and center it. There we go. So now let's see how this vignette can actually work. So in our global adjustments, we go to curves. I don't know where curves are. Curves, I think actually we do it here, there. And we can actually do Which one? Custom? Yes, there we go. That looks good. So we must make sure that editable spleens is on. And then once the editable spleens are on, you create a generic curve like this. And you kind of do a 90-degree like that. So maybe not so intense, because if we pull it, you see it gets really crazy. So let's just pull it till it's a nice color. To be honest, I'm wondering if we shouldn't just apply this to the entire adjustment rather than through a vignette. Let's just take it off and let's actually just do this global adjustment to the entire frame, because that's really pulling out the colors quite nicely. There we go. That looks really good. I would like to exclude the window, but I think that's a bit further from my level at the moment. Next, we move on to our grain node. Our sharpening node. You can actually do the entire curve as you did with the global adjustment. That's what he does. But also a nice sharpening tip is to give it a bit more of a look that's commercially accepted. You go to primaries, wheels, and you choose your mid-tone details. I believe that this is mid-tone details. Let's see, maybe we can find it. Not there. It must be mid-tone details, and pull it back to maybe like 20. He pulls it back to like -20. So let's just pull it back and see what it did. If we zoom in real nice, turn it off and on. Okay, I can just barely see how it blurs, kind of blurs your edges, so that everything seamlessly flows into one another. I think that looks quite good. Then he drops on some grain. I don't know if I want to do that, but let's give it a try. He goes into library and search grain. There's film grain. You drag that onto your node like that. Oh no, I can't use this on the free version. So let's try 400 mil. Nah, you can't use grain. So I'm just going to turn that grain node off completely, and I will need the full version to add grain. But in noise reduction, what we can do is we can do some noise reduction. Let's go turn off open effects. In our noise reduction node, what we do is we go to our motion effects. I think that's this one here, motion effects. In your temporal noise reduction, you add it on 3 frames, and you drop the luma, unlink, I think, unlink, and your luma goes to 4.8. Okay, never mind. So both noise reduction and grain are only available in the full version. Unfortunately, that's a disappointment. So we won't be able to do any of those nodes today. Sorry about that. I didn't know. But let's actually delete that node, and we can delete our noise reduction node. So this is all the look that we did today. Let's take a look if we turn all of these off, what we started with, and let's see how we went through the exposure, brightening it up a bit, balancing, bringing in some color. The 2 look nodes, we just kind of deadened those colors, but still kept the crisp white. The look adjustment dropped in. What did the look adjust? The look adjustment, I don't think we actually added any edits to this look adjustment. But the global adjustment is some curves to pull the whites a bit, and the sharpening was a tip with sharpening the mid-tones, or actually making it a bit blur, a bit better. So if we do a complete before and after, I think that looks pretty good. But that's it for the video today, guys. I hope that you had a good time with me and you learned something new. Maybe I can convince you through the series as I continue learning to switch to DaVinci Resolve with me, and we can learn together. But for now, I think that will be all. Stay tuned. If you enjoyed the video, please do subscribe. I know you probably hear that from every YouTuber, but it will really help if you just give this video a big thumbs up. The algorithm will then send the video to more people, so more people will be able to see it. And especially in a niche content like this, we really have to stick together as filmmakers and cinematographers and creatives in learning these skills. We really have to stick together, help each other out. So it would be greatly appreciated if you did me that favor. But until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay creative. I'll see you visionaries next time.